Samosa presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Well, happy Diwali, everybody.
Yeah, there were samosas downstairs.
There was samosas downstairs, and I want you to know, producer
You guys
Jesse.
didn't bring me any samosas.
Well, here's the thing: is that they weren't for us.
I don't think so.
But were they
And-
on a table?
What's
They
that?
were.
Was the table guarded?
No. That was
There's
my
free
logic.
samosas.
But there was a happy Diwali festival going inside the. There's a downstairs at Rogers. We have our own little amphitheater. And that's where we have like bands come in and give performances, or if the CEOs want to talk about CEO stuff in front of an audience, then you can check that out. So they were having a Chatter Mobile party, and Steve definitely took one of the samosas, and it was definitely, and then he was trying to hide it. I'm like, it was
the
definitely
party was? I literally just walked in the building and went, "Oh, samosas!" You knew the whole thing.
because it said
The
Happy
guiltier party is you.
above the samosas. It said Happy Diwali.
I don't read. I knew it was for Diwali. I don't know. Look, when there are samosas in front of me, I take them because
that's
that's
fair.
what a smart person does.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And if you've never had a samosa, have a samosa.
Way to go.
also
You
get a
must.
samosa?
I didn't get a samosa. I felt bad about stealing from the Diwali festival.
Because Adam wanted to play the good guy card, even though he knew all the dastardliness.
Can I be honest with you?
What?
I would have taken one if I felt normal, but I don't feel very good today. So,
Would have been putting your sick hand.
yeah,
in
that
the-
and the fact that sometimes when you're sick and you're not hungry.
No.
Oh, okay. I don't want to eat anything. It's gonna make me feel sick.
No,
so.
I've had the
Should
stomach
we-
flu like once ever.
Should we address the camera angles like last episode?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate all the comments by everybody that said I look 5 years older. So I'm going to hide my face behind this microphone. But here's the deal: we actually have the Sportsnet backup studios, which look amazing.
And there's so many of them.
But we have but there's the one with the big Sportsnet logo
yeah.
on it, and which, by the way, you recognized one of our listeners on the picture that they used.
Yes. There's a guy, well, you'll see him next episode. He's wearing face paint and one of those crazy Leafs blue and white wigs. And I'm like, hey, I recognize that guy. He's been at several of our events. And no, that guy works for the Oshawa Generals. He hooked us up with food.
That's right. So he's a part of the Sportsnet wall now. Probably doesn't even know it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I hope he listens to this and freaks out.
Yeah.
No, he's front and center. I mean, I'm sure he'll see it one day.
Yeah.
There's
You
going to be
won't see it
shows
next
recorded in
episode,
there.
I don't think.
No?
No,
All right, fine.
I don't think we're gonna have the angles.
Are we just
it's
gonna-
on the sidewall.
Now we have
and-
to take a picture of it.
We did.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
Remember
Without you,
took-
though.
You took a picture of it and you pointed at it.
no.
Did you?
I don't remember a lot of things.
That was 2 days ago. You took a picture.
Anyway, next
This
episode.
new podcast setup is like
It's
it's a
weird.
PTA meeting where you're in trouble. Or no, parent-teacher interview.
You're sitting beside mom and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we won't.
Jesse's the math teacher.
It won't be like this for the entirety of the show from now on. It's going to look a lot nicer, but this is our studio for today, and then next episode we move into our permanent studio, which I'm really, really excited about. I think it's going to be it's going to look amazing. It's got some Sportsnet logos in it.
Permanent studio.
Yeah, how cool is that?
My goodness.
I know, it's great. And we got a new lighting rig, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah,
so
Adam
we
bought
actually
lights.
bought lights. So these studios, the thing is, I don't know if you've ever painted a house, but if you've ever been dumb enough to paint your ceiling any color other than white, it literally sucks all the light out of the room. And I did that, and I regretted it. Don't do it. It'll make you depressed. And the studios in all of these rooms look like a dark closet where bad things happen. And I really think they should have painted them white, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, it's like in the closet. Are you taking on Austin Matthews in a hockey game?
You might be. He might be. You might be Detroit defense. He might, and then he's coming at you with a puck. What do you do? What do you even do?
The Leafs are in first place. Can we
No,
talk
okay,
about that?
all right.
Yeah.
What are we? Game 7
Permanently. Like they're in first place permanently.
by a point against the definitely should be there Tampa Bay Lightning.
I
here's the
seem
thing.
to recall the Dallas Stars beating the Buffalo Sabres by 1 point in Game 6 of the whatever Stanley Cup final.
1999.
Sorry, I just thought I would work that in there. I got criticized for we don't talk about the Sabres enough.
Oh,
So here's
did you
how,
get criticized for that?
not like actually like you guys are dicks. Like they just pointed out something that is true. We don't talk about the Sabres very much. Here's how bad the Buffalo Sabres are. I realize this. We make fun of Ottawa as the team that is dismissible. But the team that is actually dismissible is the team that we don't even think of as the dismissible team, which is the Buffalo Sabres, who we don't think of at all.
The weird thing with that, and I'm going to bring up the standings here on my touchscreen monitor, which is pretty amazing, is that, okay.
I noticed that. I'm like, Adam is a wizard.
I'm looking at the standings right now. How is Buffalo that bad? When you look at, I mean, in their last
Rangers
five,
that bad? That's more shocking to me.
in the last five, they are 1-3-1. How is it? We'll talk about New York in a second here, but let's talk about Buffalo for just a minute.
Yes, sorry.
Buffalo should be better. That's why I think we don't talk about it. And maybe that's the story, is that I'm legitimately surprised with two great centermen like they do. They've got Kyle Okposo. Their defense is I'm not, and I've never been sold on their goaltending. Although, I mean, we were hard on Robin Lehner, maybe perhaps too hard because of the performance he had against the Leafs last year.
He's still a head case.
Okay, but he's not. It doesn't mean like he's still got like a .920 save percentage, right?
Tim Thomas was a head case, won a Cub. Yeah, I see. I know.
So I wonder, why is Buffalo not performing? What's going on there?
I don't know. I don't know if it's bad attitude, lack of chemistry. I mean, they're also not that great of a team on paper. They're still not that great. They got firepower, and they do have some goaltending, but like that defense is not much to write home about. There's talk of them trading Sam Reinhart. Like when a rebuild happens, yes, Jesse.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say when a rebuild happens, you got to burn it to ash, and I thought that's what the Sabres did.
Because they did. They had a pretty bad year, but then
There's a difference between being intentionally, legendarily awful,
which they were,
and actually burning it to ash. Like now what they have is this awkward, we thought we were further ahead in our rebuild than we actually were, just fired our GM and coach, so now we're getting used to each other again, and it's like they took an intentional step backward, but it is a step backward. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they're this weird, like you said with the Franken ankle, they're this weird Franken team. There's something there. I mean, when you have Jack Eichel and you can stop a puck.
Evander Kane's there,
and he's been great for them. There's parts. I think every team has parts.
I think the problem is now
the Golden Knights have parts.
Is Tim Murray, I think, tried to accelerate the rebuild, and Toronto's rebuild accelerated without them trying. Does that make sense? Like essentially, a couple years ago, they're in about the same position. At the beginning, let's say beginning of last season, they're just about in the same position. Although Jack Eichel's played a full season, and they do have Ryan O'Reilly, but going out and getting Ryan O'Reilly. Is that the smart move, or do you continue to sort of be bad like the Leafs expected to be and continue to accumulate those draft picks? Now, you could argue in Buffalo's case, maybe they wouldn't have been as bad, but the Leafs were sort of bad, and it netted them Nylander and Marner, and then they were super bad and they got Austin Matthews. Mm-hmm. It was almost like they got their Austin Matthews, but forgot to get their Marner and Nylander along the way.
Yeah, like you can't
I mean, they did get their Nylander. He's just injured in the NHL.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So maybe it's also a matter of like, I don't know, they maybe got a couple injuries. Ryan O'Reilly's off to a slow start. And like you said, it's only the first 7 games. But what the rebuild reminds me of somewhat is Brian Burke's rebuild of the Leafs. He went out, made some good moves, got some vets, and from time to time, turned them into a pretty respectable team. But they still, like, even in the years where, like, they were in the playoff mix, or, like, it's, January and they're still in a playoff spot, or even in the 2013 year with against Boston, where Burke had been fired before that season, but it was still basically his team, minus, like, a couple very small moves. I looked at them and I go, okay, they might make the playoffs, but is that what we're competing for here? We're competing to win the Stanley Cup, and the Leafs never once looked like a cup contender. And I look at Buffalo and what they could be, and right now I'm like, yeah, I could see them making some noise. I could see them maybe making the playoffs even this year. They could recover and even make it this year. But winning the Cup, I don't know. And I'm not calling the Leafs a Cup favorite, although they're in first place right now. But I could see it. With a lot of teams, I could see it happening. With Buffalo, they've made a bunch of good moves, and now they got to kind of mid-rebuild, reevaluate what they are.
Elliot Friedman talked about the intensity of the first 10 games of this season, and we're not even at game 10 yet, but in 31 thoughts, it's not 30 thoughts anymore, 31 thoughts, he talked to an NHL executive, an unnamed one, and he said, I can't believe already the intensity and the pressure from fans, from management, and the guy sort of said, yeah, it's always been that way, but not like this. And it seems like teams like Montreal, the Rangers, Boston, Buffalo, and if you look at the Western Conference too, Arizona should not have 0 wins.
That's insane. Well, and holy mackerel, look at Edmonton.
Edmonton's right above them. Edmonton has one win.
Bad.
They have one win.
But see, well, the theme, though, with a lot of those teams, they should not be this bad.
Right, and
they
probably won't
plan on being this bad either. And management probably talked to ownership and tried to convince them they weren't that bad. Arizona... They probably, well, I don't know if this was supposed to be a guaranteed playoff year. They certainly probably thought they were better than this. Sharks were supposed to take a step back. The Oilers?
Again, the Oilers haven't even played since we talked about them on Tuesday.
So what?
1-4, but they were 1-4 2 days ago when we talked about it too.
Right, so they haven't played that many games. Okay, fair enough.
They're 5 games in.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
The Ducks? The Habs?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about them and being flawed, but they definitely did not think heading into this past summer that they were last place in the East bad. The Rangers, like Buffalo sort of belongs down there. Florida sort of belongs down there. Boston is a little bit like the Sharks in that they're a pretty good team, but sort of in transition. But there's a bunch of teams in there that probably thought they were better than this.
Since Tuesday, correction, the Oilers did lose that night.
Oh, right. They lost
Carolina.
on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Carolina.
Oh, that's right.
Carolina, who's only played, by the way, 4 games.
And Carolina looked dominant.
Yeah.
Dominant.
They're
They
2-1.
looked like basically what we all thought the Oilers would be. This young, dominant, dynamic team. Lindholm, Aho is such a... Man, there's so many like fantasy sleepers on
And Teuvo
Carolina.
Teravainen.
Oh, I forgot all about him.
Like, they stole Teuvo Teravainen.
It's so funny. And like my brain is already programmed to think that the Oilers are good. Like my brain is still on last year mode.
I think for a lot of people that's the case.
The Oilers are good and the Hurricanes are bad. So when I saw Teravainen goal, I think he might have even scored last game. I saw that on Twitter. I went, oh, when did the Oilers get Teravainen? I don't remember.
Right?
So,
yeah.
I mean, they're a great young team.
So it's
Still, also, I look at the standings and they're not that great.
It is early, and again,
early.
we do need to talk about Montreal.
What's going on? When does that egg crack? Is what I want to know.
Well, we talked about it, and I think Ron McLean alluded to it when he was on. He didn't think that they were going to be a playoff team. He didn't think they'd be able to compete. And so far, he's right. Now, again, 7 games. It's 7 games. But the signs aren't good. And it's more than just can't score goals. It's team play. It's not utilizing. I mean, they may not have as much depth as some of the other teams. However, they do have team speed. They've got a guy who's so talented in Galchenyuk playing on the 4th line.
He's on. I think he's on the 1st now.
Oh, he is.
I
Okay.
saw a line rush this morning.
And they don't have the depth, though, to put him on the 4th line. You know what I mean? The Leafs do. At least you can put Marner on the 4th line. And it's like, well, he's got to earn his way back. Fine. Galch, you really need him.
Friedman made a really good point. And by the way, 31 thoughts this week. It's always an essential read. It's particularly good. Mm-hmm. Very, very good.
Couple
like
things I wanna bring
movie
up from
trailer good. Like he really gave off the impression that things are about to go kablooey.
Which we'll talk about.
Yeah, I won't spoil any of that stuff. But one thing he mentioned was, I don't remember which team it was, but it was depth up the middle. And like 2 guys isn't enough. Like the Penguins are suffering. And their top 2 guys are Crosby and Malkin.
Right.
But they got Greg McKegg as their 3rd line center. Like you can't even have a soft 3rd line center. The Leafs barely squeaked in with a soft 4th line center position. And by soft, I mean bad. It was bad.
Yeah, it was. But that's the point is that, when people talk about, we talked about last episode trading Tyler Bozak,
Yeah.
you do have the
that
depth.
was something I thought of.
You do have the depth to do it, but why do it? Why do it? Because you've got a legitimate centerman there.
You need to replace him.
You need to replace him. And yeah, Patrick Marleau can play center, William Nylander can play center, but nobody's breaking up the Hyman, Nylander, Matthews line this year. There's no way.
No, here I was trying to 3 hours ago. These are the sorry. I made a mistake. My bad. I looked at the wrong line rushes. Whatever.
So Gauch is on the fourth line?
No, he's on the first, but I was trying to find it so I could read it, and I made a mistake.
Okay. So what does Montreal do? How do you, is it a couple garbage goals that get it going, or is this just a struggle period, end of story?
No, it's a better team. It's a better team that gets it going. They're struggling. I think I saw Victor Mete played over 20 minutes or something like that. He led Habs defensemen and even strength ice time or something like that.
That's crazy for a young guy like him.
Which, it's super impressive of him, but
he shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't. No, exactly. You should have vets who can overtake that spot. And the whole Mark Streit thing, they put him on waivers. They get rid of him in anticipation of David Schlemko coming back. And now Schlemko's going to be out, another 3 to 4 weeks?
Yeah, so they said bone spurs in his wrist.
Which, I'm not a doctor, so maybe he looked good to come back and then something happened. I don't know, but what a mess. What a mess Mark Bergevin has. And, general managers are always playing this little game of chess. And the really smart ones do two things. One, make good teams. Mm-hmm. Two, make it so that it's hard to fire them. He's put himself in a position where, what is the Habs' next move? They made a big trade. They lost a bunch of free agents. They made another enormous trade. I forgot about the Subban Weber trade. So they made that trade. Then there was the Drouin trade. You get rid of your top prospect. You fire your longtime coach. You have a new coach who's in there for a very long time. Carey Price is extended forever. What is their next move?
To me,
fire him.
Well, yeah.
Their next move is fire him.
And I wonder because I think Bergevin more than ever is, he's always a guy that's willing to wheel and deal.
And he's made some really good deals.
I think more than ever now he'll be a little bit more desperate. And I wonder if you look at a team like Buffalo and you look at, you said Elliot Friedman said, there are teams struggling that don't have 3 centermen.
Yes.
Montreal doesn't really have one. Drouin is unproven. So you can't tell me he's a legitimate NHL center.
He'll be good,
I think he'll be fine, but it's not enough. But what they do have is a ton of cap room.
For what?
Well, if you need another centerman and you want to trade Gauch, wouldn't you call up Buffalo for Ryan O'Reilly?
It's an interdivisional trade, so there's a problem. What on earth? Gauch isn't enough. It's not. So what else do you throw in there?
But the thing is, I think in Buffalo's case, they're strapped to some bad contracts, man. Tim Murray made some deals that I was shocked at the time. The Matt Molson deal was terrible.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
there's some deals on that team. Even Okposo, I thought.
Boy, that guy's paid.
I thought that was too much too soon for that team. Both Molson and Okposo, and I couldn't understand why they did those deals.
Do we know if he's fully recovered from whatever it was he faced?
Molson?
Okposo.
So what I want to do here is I want to pull up Cap Friendly because
I always want to do that. Because why?
Here's the thing with the Sabres. I think
I'll do it too.
If the Sabres were able to take here you can look at mine.
Yes.
If you take
the new studio and the luxuries
if
of
the
sitting
Sabres
right beside you.
Cap friendly.
If the Sabres were able to move some money, like Ryan O'Reilly at $7.5 million, he's only 26. What a great asset. However, the reason he's a great asset is the reason I think you might want to move him. If you don't think you've got a great team there, and you look at the amount of money on the books, you got Kyle Okposo making $6 million, Jason Pominville making $5.6 million for the next 2 years, Evander Kane's a UFA at the end of the season, but he's making $5.25, so he's a rental. Matt Molson, $10 million over the next 2 years, and then you've got that. No wonder you can't afford to have great defense.
Adam with a very good point there. We have not really been talking about the Sabres as a seller, even though they obviously are.
They're going to need to be.
Buddy, Evander Kane, Josh George is maybe not. Justin Falk, someone might want, although he's on the IR right now.
So yeah, no, I think what you look at is try to get some assets for these guys and then reset. I know they want to look at Alex Nylander. He's injured in the AHL. I'm sort of surprised he didn't start if they really wanted to look at him, I'm really surprised they didn't start the season with him.
I'm just confused.
Yeah, so I feel like there's an opportunity there for the Sabres if they take this season and they commit to, okay, what are we? Are we a young, fast, fun team? We've got Jack Eichel forever. So let's move some of these bad contracts, and that I don't include Ryan O'Reilly in that, but he might be one of value. And what if you get a Hudon or a Galchenyuk out of Montreal?
This is the interesting little chess game that the Habs are playing, because where are they weak? Up the middle.
Everywhere.
On
defense.
Yeah.
You have no moves. You got nothing. You got no cards to play.
Their card
is trading Carey Price.
No. Their card is the salary cap. Mm-hmm. They have money to burn.
Okay, so acquired Dustin Brown from the Kings.
No, I'm talking about Ryan O'Reilly.
I'm not giving you Ryan O'Reilly.
I don't think interdivision trades are happening.
No.
Well, that's stupid. We need to get over that. This is the only stupid league that does stupid shit.
You're competing directly with that team.
Yeah, but if they give up something and you give up something that you both need, you need a definitive centerman.
You're making your enemy better, though.
But,
I know you're getting better, too, but you're making your enemy better.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't you rather do a similar trade? Like, okay, there's got to be another Ryan-ish, O'Reilly-ish out there.
And I'm not saying,
West.
listen, again, Sabres would have a tough time moving Ryan O'Reilly because because Ryan O'Reilly is a great player and he's under contract forever and he's only 26 and he's a great leader. I mean, he's so many great things, but I would...
so keep him. For all those reasons, keep him.
So do you want $17.5 million lined up with Jack Eichel and Ryan O'Reilly?
Not really, but remember that whole allegedly running into a Tim Hortons thing and that whole fiasco, and then he was nominated for the Masterton? He's not going anywhere. They love him too much. Well, management loves him too much. There's a difference between the fans loving, in the case of PK Subban, and management loving. Management loves you, you stay. Fans love you, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter all that much. Someone who I think could possibly be related to me is Eric Engels, because I'm just reading through his stuff. As long as we're going back and forth between Buffalo and Montreal, I've just been reading his stuff. He's so professional and he's so calculated and rational. So he's my completely opposite brother. Mm-hmm. But we're similar in that, God, frustration just seeps through his writing right now. Through his tweets, through his articles, through his everything. Guys, you're missing out if you're not following Eric Engels, Engels. Canadians goalies occupy the most unenviable position in hockey, writes Eric Engels. It's true. That's their strength. They have one strength, and they're not moving it. They've made it so that they almost can't. Unless here's a move that makes sense for the Montreal Canadiens, although I don't know if Charlie Lindgren is still injured. He looks like he could be a good backup goalie. You know who's a really good backup goalie? Al Montoya. If you can find anybody in the league to take Al Montoya for some kind of mediocre center or defense help, maybe you start to get back on track. I don't know if anybody's going to
do that.
They
would have to be somebody overpaid.
Other moves, like Galch, I don't understand how bad at center could he possibly be that he's not a top 4 center on this team. I don't know. That is it. I don't know. As a Leafs fan, you know what? I was about to say, as a Leafs fan, I've seen this movie before. 2 years ago, I remember doing a video for Sportsnet, their YouTube channel, going, Habs fans rejoice, like when they were tanking all the way down to like, I don't know, last in the East or whatever it was. It was really bad. The year Carey Price got hurt. I was like, I've seen this before. Don't worry. Rock bottom is approaching, and Everything is going to be fine. Everyone's going to get fired. The rebuild will begin, and you'll be fine. That summer, they trade PK Subban and somehow win the division. And now it looks like they're heading right back down to rock bottom, and Price is healthy. But you just never know. There's no Canada like French Canada. It's the best Canada in the land. And the other Canada is a bullshit Canada. If you live here for one day, you understand.
I don't understand what's going on there. Anyway, I feel like if I look at the Sabres, I look at the Canadians, and I kind of go, I don't know what you are. And especially the Sabres, I feel like they've got some really bad deals. I think Tim Murray really put them in a tight spot. And it's about time they find a way to get those contracts off the books.
Adam put it into familiar words that I just forgot. What are they? Like we talked about with the Canucks.
What are
you?
you?
Were starting your downward turn. What are you? Mm-hmm. What are the Habs? Well, see, the Sabres, I think, are at very least, what are you? Mm-hmm. You could be good.
Yep.
Here's some moves you could make. You have a few really good players. You have some good prospects. You have some of this. You have some of that. Habs are just bad. On paper, in results so far. Dead last in goals.
But who couldn't have seen this coming?
Marc Bergevin. No, that's the thing. Usually we're criticizing a GM for overvaluing
a player and
his
signing
team.
him too much.
Yeah, something like that.
God, we're the best at that. We were the best at that in Toronto.
But I think he just whiffed. Just whiffed. I'm trying to think of the last time a GM went into the offseason with 2 key free agents to sign, and he left with neither of them. One of whom decided, oh, screw it, I'll go to Russia. It wasn't Radulov either. Radulov went to the Stars, and Markov went, never mind.
Now, and Radulov left in anger, too, because didn't Dallas and Montreal offer the same deal, and he took Dallas's?
It was something along those lines. Now, in fairness, I don't know what the taxes are in Texas. I'm willing to bet they're less than Quebec.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, I really need to emphasize this. The Leafs have played 7 games. The Habs have played 7 games. Leafs are first in the NHL in goals. The Habs are last. Leafs have 34 goals. Habs have 10.
Yikes.
And it's not just that they have 10. You know, the Leafs have allowed their bottom 10 in goals against.
Of course.
So they've scored 34, allowed 22.
The differential is what's going to matter on this one.
Differential is still plus 12, which is top in the league, by the way. Habs are 10 goals for, 27 against.
Whoa.
Carolina's only played 4 games, and they've scored 11 goals. And allowed 11. So goal differential is 0. Oh boy. No one is even close. I'm just looking at all the other teams who haven't even hit 20 yet. And only 2 of them, not named the Montreal Canadiens, have played a full 7 games. They can't score. They're in trouble. I'm not saying that as a Leaf fan to be a jerk. Leafs are in first place, and we spent the first half of the show talking about how bad other teams are. But I'm not doing it to go, ha. I'm trying to figure out what the hell they're doing.
What do you do?
The next move, and you see it in the subtext of writing and things like that. The next move is Marc Bergevin gets fired. But it's really early in the season for that to happen. So buy yourself your favorite candy bar, buy yourself your favorite hot chocolate, buy yourself your favorite beer, wine, or whatever else at the liquor store. It's going to be a rough fall for Montreal Canadiens fans.
I have a question. We keep saying it's too early. It's too early. At what point is it no longer too early?
It's not too early. You know what?
It's not too early right now?
Okay, this isn't fair what I'm about to say, and therefore it's not even logical.
Therefore, it's not even Eric.
But I'm just going to say it. Oh, no, it's not. It's not my brother Eric.
No.
Fair.
Oh.
Eric, fair.
I went with angles.
I'm high on cold meds, man. Come on.
That was so easy.
God, I stink. God, I have the goal-scoring prowess of the Montreal Canadiens. No, I think there are some things that you look at and you go, you know what? There will be a correction there.
Sure.
Habs,
Like the Leaf shooting percentage right now.
It's a little high. The Leaf shooting percentage is way too high.
14%.
Their save percentage is way too low.
Yeah.
There will be some kind of correction there. And the Habs are actually bad in both those categories, I should point out. But, man, they can't score.
What if there's a correction there? What if they start scoring?
You know what? There was remember in the preseason when they couldn't score either?
Yeah.
And there was a 1-game correction. They scored 9.
Yeah.
And that was it.
What if that's the real Montreal Canadiens? How long do you wait to see if there's a correction? That's my question. Is it right now? It's just we've waited too long? Is 7 games or 6 games too much?
I don't have a proper answer to that. Like, what happens if they start scoring, but they keep losing? That's going to be the interesting thing to me. Like, again, if you have Carey Price and Al Montoya, who deserves credit, especially for the way he played last night, like, if you score some goals and you're the Montreal Canadiens, you should win games. And they're just not. But I don't know. I'm searching for reasons to have faith, and my main reason for the Habs getting back on track right now is, well, no one's this bad. Yeah, that's not good. Like, I don't think it's gonna work, man. I don't think it's gonna work.
Leafs have won 3 straight.
You bet.
Leafs won a back-to-back, which I believe they have 14 more of or 13 more of this year.
Oof,
Well, they have a lot. They have a lot.
They had
have,
18 last year, but it's less than this year. It's less this year.
They have 3 coming in November and 4 in December.
And it's looking like November's going to be a tough schedule.
November's going to suck. December's going to suck. They have a couple, like 3 or 4 day breaks, but like they got the California road trip, I think, at the end of this month. That starts at the end of this month. And then at the end of November, they also had the Western Canadian road trip. And they have like a home and home with Boston that's going to be enormous for both teams. And they got a lot. Mm-hmm. So soak up this nice home game rich, rest rich October. It's going to get worse.
Right. But 3 wins in a row in 7 and 2 wins in a row back to back. Pretty good, especially when you consider that there are some question marks regarding Curtis McElhinney.
God, he is just so fun. Who's not having fun watching Curtis McElhinney?
He does. He gives me an ulcer, but I mean, it reminds me of watching Cujo.
Oh yeah,
because Cujo was terrifying to watch.
Yeah,
but he was great.
People don't understand. That is what every goalie used to play like. That is the
Sabres and Detroit fans with Hasek, and Sens fans too. Like Hasek was crazy with that stuff.
And it was just he had a slinky for a spine. And I think that was the main difference. Dave Alter tweeted this last night. Absolutely fantastic. In 18 instances of back-to-back games last season, Leafs played friggin' 18 back-to-back games, Toronto never scored more than 4 goals in the second game. Tonight they get 6. One was in the NG, even still. Mm-hmm. That is nuts, and what a great find by Dave. And that was their first back-to-back, wasn't it?
But McElhinney, did he answer the questions last night?
Dave Alter?
No, Curtis McElhinney, who I'm trying to steer you in the direction of.
What?
I thought Adam's question was very direct.
Tell me more about how many goals they've scored, though.
Before the show,
Adam, 34.
Before the show, Steve was arguing that he could half pay attention and still be good, and I don't think that's true.
It's not working. It's not working at all.
I'm going to make you put your computer away in a second.
No, that's fine. Fine. You're
Steve,
right. No, you're right.
Did Curtis McElhinney answer the questions last night, or is Calvin Pickard still the guy that might be nipping at his heels?
Garrett Sparks is pretty good. No, I mean, Pickard was acquired for a very obvious reason. He's good and should have been picked up. And it looks like he'll be the Leafs' eventual backup. His numbers are good. He's played a lot of NHL games. He's at an age that makes sense. Like, McElhinney is certainly not going to get better at this stage in his already not very good career. So they needed to look for a backup plan. I was never really convinced they were totally in love with Garrett Sparks, although I think they should like him more than they do. Kasimir Kaskisuo was the starter in the ECHL last year. Like, he's not ready. All that stuff I saw about him potentially being the backup, I'm like, you're on drugs. But, I mean, just like McElhinney did in the preseason, he stopped the puck last night, didn't he? Well, he stopped more than his opponents. Mm-hmm. That's all I know. Like, just win the game. He's so fun. He's fun. Like, okay, there are certain players I watch, And I go, oh my God, they're so bad. And like it gives me anxiety and I get mad and I yell at the team, you stink! Get off the ice! McElhinney last night, I'm sitting there on the couch going, he's so bad. But he stopped the puck. There were so many, here's how he's like Cujo, Adam. The 3 or 4 great saves he made in this game were because he was so hopelessly, hilariously out of position in the first place.
Yeah, there was one where he reached back and put his paddle down, and that would have been, I think that would have brought Detroit within a goal. And
Jonathan Quick, such an athletic goalie because he's not actually that good.
What did Andrew Berkshire call him? The one good game a month, Jonathan Quick?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it might be I don't know if the numbers back that up. Andrew could tell you, but
I mean, there's an example.
He's won a cup.
2
cups.
And a Conn Smythe. Screw it. Stop the puck, stupid. Doesn't matter. And McElhinney, except for one very bad preseason game, has done that. He was decent in the preseason, except for the one bad game. He was good in this one to stop the puck. Stop the puck. He's just buying himself time.
Detroit seems like another team where I'm still trying to figure out what they are.
Rebuilding. No,
Are they rebuilding?
I'm not confused there. They have, they're in cap hell. They need to. You want to talk about trade partners for the Montreal Canadiens. Detroit doesn't have enough cap room to ice a not even that good team. Montreal has $9 million. Look, give us any little bit of fat and I don't know, we'll help you out. We got nothing but room. Guys. But Detroit's winning right now.
Mm-hmm. They are 4-3.
What do they want to make their opponent better for? The only thing, and actually Friedman dropped a little gem last night, was he thinks something is going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours, which is now less, for the Detroit Red Wings because they basically either need to get rid of someone in order to bring Andreas Athanasiou back, or he needs to take no money. And I'm pretty sure he's in Europe right now. So
he is.
I don't really see that happening.
He's exercising with the Swiss team.
Lugano, I think. So, I mean, those are really good trade partners, I think. But I don't know.
Is Mike Green a guy that's tradable?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd be a great fit in Montreal. But again, if you're Detroit and you're used to being Detroit and you look at your winning record, I'm not trading Mike Green.
You don't want to miss the playoffs for the first time again? Or for
the
second time?
third time.
For the first
Second
time
straight
again.
time.
Yes.
How dare you? Okay, I'm just looking at their team. Danny DeKeyser's agent is the bomb. How did he get $5 million?
Look at Riley Sheehan's deal.
Riley Sheehan's the guy the Habs should look at.
It took him 72 games to score last year.
And then he scored 2. No, it took him 82.
Oh.
Or no, sorry.
He scored 80 first?
I think he played in 80 games. The 82nd game of the season was his 80th. And he scored his only 2 goals of the season in that game. I only know this because
I don't think Montreal needs that.
Series.
I think they got lots of that.
No, but it was just a horribly snake-bitten season. It was ridiculous. If you look at his past career, nothing suggests he's a 2-goal-a-year guy. He just, the damn puck wouldn't go in the net. But is he a notable upgrade on anyone they have back there? I don't know. But if you're the Habs, you're just trying stuff, aren't you? And if you're Detroit, you got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Riley Sheehan scored 2 goals in his final game of the season, which was his 80th game.
Absolutely unbelievable.
There you go.
Toronto last night, their first line.
Sorry, last goal ever at Joe Louis Arena as well. He has that distinction.
Damn.
Yeah.
Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and Zach Hyman all scored a goal last night.
So I actually said, late in the second or early in the third, I haven't noticed the Matthews line as much tonight. And then I had to correct myself and go, Steve, they have 2 goals. And then by the end of the game, they had 3.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Zach Hyman has scored 30% of the goals he scored all of last season in 7 games.
Told you guys 15, I think. And hey, deflected off of him. So what?
It doesn't matter. He's there.
Bounced off him.
How many
Counts.
JVR goals go right off him?
Counts.
Right?
How many teams across the league is Zach Hyman a first-line player for?
It depends on how many teams need that role play that he does.
Yeah, here's the correct answer. Depends who the coach is.
Okay.
Right? Babcock, I'm sure if you were to ask Mike Babcock, he wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's a first-line player. He reminds me of
Henrik Zetterberg.
And Zetterberg and Datsuk. Reminds me of all those guys I coached. Paul Correa. No, he wouldn't say that, but he's got a job. And he called him the best forechecker in the league. I think that's hyperbole, but Zach Hyman is a really good bassist.
He's more of a drummer.
You think? No. Drummers are stars.
Yeah.
Drummers are stars.
Yeah,
He's
they keep the whole tempo of everything.
Bassists are
Sorry, I've had this yelled at me for many years by my father. So you have to remember that. Austin Matthews is the front man.
He's the lead guitarist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Singer,
and then you got, what would Nylander be?
He'd be the drummer. If you have if it's a trio, if it's Rush.
Yeah.
Let's say it's Rush.
Oh, okay.
But except for the fact that Geddy Lee was the singer and the bassist, but
Neil Peart's overrated.
Hyman is.
My dad's gonna fight you. He met him and he was just like, I'm Neil Peart.
because guitar players and drummers, they can do solos, but they also work really well together. But what's interesting about the bassist is, and I was reading this in Sting's biography, and he said the reason I chose bass, he's like, because I could play guitar, is that the bassist basically controls where the band goes musically. He said it's the bass that is the basis of an entire song. And wouldn't you say the same thing about how Zach Hyman kind of conducts himself on the ice? There's a lot of what he does that leads to Austin Matthews.
He gets them the puck. And what are they good at doing? Things with the puck. Yeah, he hands them the guitar.
Yeah. And
he's the drum tech.
Yeah.
My dad was a drum tech once for Sebastian Bach.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Of Skid Row fame.
Yeah. He handed him drumsticks, which I think is what a drum tech is.
Well, Sebastian Bach didn't, he was the lead singer, so it would have been Sebastian Bach's drummer.
Drummer.
Right. Yeah.
I thought that was implied.
Unless Sebastian Bach was out there swinging his microphone around and a drumstick.
With his microphone. Boom, 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 boom. Can you imagine how terrible that would have sounded? No, I think that's a decent analogy. Zach Hyman plays bass. And, no one goes to a concert for the bassist. But unless you take the bassist off the stage. And then you're like, oh, okay. If you put another guitarist on that line, another guy who can shred, you'd be like, you know what? That's kind of neat, but they don't really need it.
Mm-hmm. And there's too much shredding.
There's a lot of shredding going on.
Yeah. There's another act on this bill.
What if you're really into that kind of music?
I don't know. Is everyone always into Dragon Force?
And
Some people.
And Joe Satriani.
Yeah.
I went to a Joe Satriani concert once by accident. I just showed up too early for the Deep Purple concert that he was opening for. And unless you like guitar and can play it, Joe Satriani sucks because he's like, he literally got up to the microphone and he's like, here's a song I wrote about aliens, but you won't understand because there's no lyrics. It's an hour of him just playing guitar.
If you know how to play guitar and you're really into that, you're like, oh my God.
Wow, look at what he can do on that fretboard.
Yeah.
But what made Eddie Van Halen and Alex Van Halen and David Lee Roth so great is that they had Eddie, who is an incredible guitar player, Alex, who's an incredible drummer, Michael Anthony, who the hell's Michael Anthony? Oh, he's the bassist. He's the guy that just gets out of their way.
Michael Anthony is actually the guy who painted David.
Yes, that's also
there. Yes, painted David.
This is a different one. This is Michael Anthony Sobayeski.
No.
Steckel.
David from
Steckel.
Southern California. But anyway.
This is why I go to Flogging Molly shows.
The point is...
we just get drunk and push each other.
The point is, most people, a more accessible type of music would be Van Halen. If you are a huge fan of shredding, go see a Joe Satriani show for sure. But nobody's going to dispute that a better overall concert experience for all involved is going to be Van Halen because they have a complete package, you could say.
So Mike Babcock used to have Thomas Holmstrom play bass.
Right.
And Johan Franzen play bass.
And what about Justin Applicator?
Plays bass.
But sometimes the Senators make the Stanley Cup Finals.
With tambourines.
Oh, sorry, not the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh, yeah.
Well, every once in a while.
Dial it back.
Let's calm down. A one-dimensional band wins a Grammy.
Well,
yeah. What do we got? Well, we got the best guitar player in the world. A bunch of maracas. This one guy can play bass.
A bunch of maracas.
A flute.
And a drummer. They got a drummer.
Yeah.
Good drummer.
And
Does Fanuff play the flute?
I don't know. Yeah, no, he's a gong.
He's a gong.
Yeah, just the one big one.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything with any sort of finesse. Like
No.
he hits hard, he skates hard, he shoots hard. That's all he does. It's just hard.
Anderson is a wall. You can just Buddy Rich it and put your drumsticks all over the wall. And a fiddle. What kind of fiddle? You know, the one from that Yellow Card song. Oh, yes, I understand what you're talking about. Whatever, they made it. They made it. Sometimes weird bands
Even the
do
Lumineers can win a Grammy. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Arcade Fire, won all
They
these
have
awards.
a bazillion different instruments, but they made it work.
Senators are a little bit like Arcade Fire.
A little bit. Doesn't mean they're not good.
In that they're overrated. Whoa! Whoa! Sorry, I made a lot of people mad for no good reason. I'm sorry.
Because music's intensely personal and very subjective. You can't tell me one band's better than another. It's all how
But
you
that
hear it.
band scored 8 goals. No, there's no stats
didn't.
in
Nope.
music. No.
You all told me Arcade Fire was done, but look at Bobby Ryan now. Sorry.
The Leafs are now the odds-on favorite.
I don't know.
Leafs are now the odds-on favorite in Vegas to win the Stanley Cup.
That's dumb.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know about that, but I know that if you're betting now on who's going to win the Stanley Cup, then you have a gambling problem.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Like, you have a problem.
That
Stop.
or you're a huge Leafs fan. No, it's just because I'm a huge Leafs fan. Trust me, I don't have a problem. Here's something, Leaf fans and Torontonians and Ontarians. Vegas thinks you're stupid. They do. They do. Because for a few years now, I think they've been getting a lot of money from
Toronto?
from this little region. The Blue Jays are going to win the World Series. Odds-on favorite.
That's true, they
and
were.
people just dumped money into betting in Vegas.
It's a big city with lots of money. Makes sense.
with a lot of marks is how they look at it.
Yeah. Because that's what gambling's about. Find the richest sucker in the room. Are you rich and are you a sucker?
Yeah, it's not about the actual odds. It's the how much can we get people to bet on these odds.
Yes.
I love the casino. They give you free drinks. It's not that free. You'll learn. Mm-hmm. You're going to learn today.
I didn't know what time it was. Well, it's because they don't have any clocks up. On purpose.
I remember
Oh,
just
it's
They have any
night
windows
all
on
the time,
purpose. Yeah.
24/7.
I was in the MGM Grant for the NHL Awards a couple years ago, and I remember just lying in bed at 3:30 in the morning, wide-eyed, staring at the ceiling like a crazy person, going, "I cannot fall asleep."
Because they pump oxygen.
I know. It's the craziest thing.
Wow.
That place is designed to suck all of the money out of your pockets
Yep.
like an alien device.
Yes.
I am just going to say that I am still disappointed that we are not going to be there on New Year's Day. to
Me
watch
too.
the
But
Leafs
I
in Vegas.
the wedding I couldn't
But
afford.
New Year's
someone-
Eve, it's even better.
Sorry, I kiboshed
But
it because I have a
someone's
wedding to
getting
pay for.
married.
Way to go, idiot.
Sorry.
Moron. Piece of crap.
The LA Kings are undefeated. They beat Montreal 5-1 last night. The 5-0 undefeated overtime loss. Fine.
They're Bettman undefeated.
5-0-1.
Does that make sense?
That's pretty amazing. Good start. And Dustin Brown scoring goals.
Well, Jeff Carter is out for about a month.
Yeah.
So that's going to suck. And as Platinum Sea Ghost pointed out on Twitter, the Leafs play the Kings twice this year. And both times, Jeff Carter's probably going to be out of the lineup. So,
Why?
because it's within the next month.
Oh.
Yes.
Good.
So, well, I mean, yeah. My first thought was, yeah. And then I thought about it and I felt bad for saying, yeah.
Oh, come on.
You're cheering
Be a
for
fan.
I know. But, okay.
You're not cheering for him to be injured. You're just happy he's not in the lineup. It's a courtesy to him. Not
I
a
didn't
courtesy
crowbar
compliment.
his ankle.
It's a compliment.
He's
does
already
that-
hurt and my team's playing him twice.
He's a great player, and I'd prefer not to play him.
If he's
How's
going to
that
miss
sound?
games, how about it be against my team?
Does that make you a bad human?
No.
sure.
You are cheering for a guy's downfall.
We're not.
No.
We didn't say, I sure hope he gets injured. But what he did, it was like, well, that's great that he's not in the lineup against the Leafs. For us.
Yeah.
That's unsympathetic to Jeff Carter's woes.
Do I have
We
to
should
be
be
sympathetic
sending-
to Jeff Carter's woes?
He's having a difficult time
What
right
has Jeff
now.
Carter ever done for me?
He's played hockey
Got
and
traded to the
provided you-
Leafs.
He's provided you with entertainment.
Sure.
You know
I
what?
don't know. Listen, it's not like Skip Bayless being with Gordon Hayward and saying the road is now paved for LeBron to lose his third championship in a row. I mean, that was
Nothing
a clown.
Canada did it.
That was a clown
No.
move.
Why is he so Teflon?
He's not being held accountable for anything.
Why? I tweeted,
perfect.
this is the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. Because I genuinely thought, oh, there it is. There's something that will
Steve,
finally...
no.
You know what it is?
Eh?
You know what it is?
Nothing.
It's because they didn't catch him feeling guilty about it. Soon as they catch you feeling guilty, then they jump on you. But Skip Bayless has never felt guilty publicly about anything he said, which is why nothing sticks to him. It's the Donald Trump effect. He's got the same thing. There are certain people that they just say stuff and they don't feel guilty about it, and people are like, "Wow, we got you."
He looks like the wimpy,
No, he didn't.
The wimpy little brother of the bad guy from The Mask.
If anything, he doubles down on the things
Yeah.
he's supposed to feel guilty about.
Absolutely,
Which
absolutely.
is crazy.
I wish I was there to break his other leg. Now skip. Now skip.
And it's
Someone
true.
just kept playing. They had a clip that was just like a full minute of Shannon Sharp go, skip!
Yeah.
And Shannon Sharp is so smart and so eloquent. He's a better broadcaster than he was a football player, I would say. And I got to tell you, he was an unbelievable football player. But Shannon Sharp is amazing, and he's on the show with freaking Skip Bayless.
It was a little bit better when there were at least two completely ridiculous personalities in the room.
Shannon, it's like I admire Shannon Sharp.
Yeah. They
Like I
let him
want to
talk.
be his friend.
There was a clip that went around recently. I think he was talking about kneeling.
Yes.
And it was like 8 minutes long. I'm like, they let him talk for 8 minutes on television on one of these shows?
Skip let him talk for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Skip just sat there, sat back, let him go. It was great. If you have not seen that clip yet, it's fan-flippin-tastic.
I would love to know. Well, there's a few.
He's eloquent, and in that particular instance, what's hard to do is to sum up an entire situation eloquently with passion without letting your emotions get a hold of you.
Uninterrupted.
Uninterrupted. And he kept and every once in a while he'd address Skip. He said, "So Skip, what I would say is," so the
to
question,
remind the audience that he's there.
Yeah.
You had to remind the audience Skip Bayless was there.
so the question, Skip, is, he's just, I don't know, he's amazing. I think he's great.
But I'm saying, like, what was the longest time when it was Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless where one of them talked consecutively? It couldn't have been longer than 45 seconds.
Probably the same as this show. Doesn't happen
Adam,
much. Doesn't
you
happen.
know I love not interrupting you on the podcast. But
Komarov scored 18 goals last year, or a couple years ago, and he was an All-Star.
yeah, and also Komarov scored 18 goals last year.
It was an All-Star.
Oh my God, I listened back to that moment. It's bad. It's right after.
I just love how
I went right through it.
I love how everybody tweeted at us too. It's so great. I'm like, oh my God.
Now skip.
Now skip. Also, Blues and Blackhawks battled it out for the top of their division yesterday. Blues took it 5-2. Hawks didn't even score until the third period. Blues look pretty good.
They do, and they're starting to get players back from injury. So I think Steen has come off the IR. So that was a team that was supposed to start slow, and a lot like the Senators actually, and they have not, and they're only going to get better.
2 points behind the Leafs, 1 point behind the Kings. They're a force to be reckoned with, and really not that surprising. Not that surprising.
They remind me of Tampa in the way that they sold off Shattenkirk, and then they're still a great team.
What did they get for Shattenkirk? Do you guys remember?
I do. There was a guy named
forgot.
Sanford, and a few picks. In Sanford,
It was pretty good though. It was a good.
It was a good
haul.
It was a very good haul. I think though, I want to say they did something. See, they made a couple huge trades. They got Braden Shen from Philly, and also they had that crazy Ryan Reeves trade with the Penguins, and all of those trades involved like big picks.
Zach Sanford, Brad Malone, first round pick, and conditional picks. And I don't know what the conditions were, but I'm sure they had to do with making the Stanley Cup final. So, not knowing much about Zach Sanford, I'm assuming he's a high-end prospect.
He's a decent one, but I feel like there was an injury involved there at some point too. I'm going to go to NHLTradeTracker.com, which is where I basically spent all of last season. Okay, so their last... Holy mackerel. So these are the Blues' last 4 trades. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Barn burners, all of them. Although this first one Wasn't really a barn burner at the time, but it's crazy when you think of the names. The Blues acquire Nail Yakupov for Zach Pachiro and a conditional third. I mean, it's still a former first overall pick. Caps acquire Kevin Shattenkirk and Phoenix Copley, who I think is a goaltending prospect for Zach Sanford, Brad Malone.
Brad Malone's just a career AHLer.
Yeah, 2017 first and a 2019 conditional second. It doesn't say if they actually got it, and you also just said that. The Blues acquire Oscar Sundqvist and a 2017 first from the Penguins for Ryan Reeves and a 2017 second-round pick. Then they acquire Braden Shen from Philadelphia for Yuri Laterra, a 2017 first, and I don't know if that was...
And a conditional in first.
I don't know which first that was. And yeah, conditional... Oh yeah, 2018 conditional first. And I remember at the time being like, Braden Shen's worth 2 firsts? That's crazy. Holy crap, is Laterra's contract an abomination.
Really? What's the deal?
Oh, he's making like over $4 million to be like a bad fourth line center.
4.7 through till 2019.
How did he get that deal is what I want to know. How on earth did he get that deal? Last year, could have been worse offensively. 22 points in 64
But
games.
his max points ever is 44.
44. Center, buddy.
Man, wow. Crazy. Anyway, St. Louis, Chicago should be very, very interesting to watch this year because any game between the two of them is good, but they're division rivals, and it looks like both of them have a good team this year. You know, the Blackhawks, surprisingly, St. Louis not so much, but St. Louis had a really off year last year. Jake Allen wasn't feeling like Jake Allen, and now it'll be interesting to see. That battle's going to be fun to watch. That central battle between those two teams, that's going to be great. I can't wait for that. I love that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when it doesn't involve my team, so I don't have to be stressed about it. I can just be entertained.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Like, until the Leafs made the playoffs were my time to relax. They were my time to relax. Nothing was at stake.
Just enjoy the hockey.
Yeah.
Now, who will finish third in the Central? Because right now, you've got Colorado in third, and then you got Nashville in fourth, Dallas in fifth, Winnipeg in sixth, and Minnesota in seventh. Now, before the season, you would think St. Louis, Chicago, Minnesota lock. But then Nashville, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Without Ryan Ellis.
Not
so, of course. Like, there are a couple teams who should be potential cup contenders, but because of one injury might not even make it. The Ducks and the Preds. I think we've already talked about that. Like, boy, what a crazy division that is. Colorado's the only team I would say is obviously bad. And they're doing well right now. And after a really rocky start, the Jets seem to be getting it back. Dallas.
Oh, man, I don't know what the Jets.
They're a wild card, and Dallas is a big wild card to me, too, because they haven't gelled yet.
The Jets should be good.
They should be good, and Dallas should be better, but they haven't gelled yet.
The two losses are winning the Pacific Division, Vegas and Angeles.
Vegas is leading their division?
Actually, Los Angeles is. Vegas is a point behind. only because Los Angeles lost in overtime, not in regulation.
Imagine heading into the season, man, LA is only going to be 1 point ahead of Vegas. Oh, boy. LA's having a rough year. Oh, wow.
Wow. And then Calgary in third, Vancouver fourth, Edmonton all the way down in seventh. And you guys said, I mean, I don't expect that to stay the same. Again, it's only 5 games in. Edmonton, who hasn't gone on a 3-game? The Leafs just went on a 3-game win streak. If Edmonton goes on a 3-game win streak, which they can, this is a different conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I was just thinking? What does every great action movie, adventure movie feature? It features the protagonist almost dying a bunch of times. Or almost really getting in trouble, almost getting caught. Something along those lines. That's what Vegas has been doing this whole time. Vadim Shipachov's in the minors. What is George McPhee doing? And how is he managing this? And why did he do this with waivers? Malcolm Subban, he can't do. And every time, he's just Indiana Jones rolling under the door before it slams shut, running away from the rock. Like, every single time, he's managed his way out of it. So now, it's early in the season. Vegas is pistol hot. They have an abundance of what? Defense.
Oh, yes, yeah. Which they can trade.
Awfully needs defense. Montreal.
And
the longer Vegas waits and makes them squirm, Just jack the price up.
Doesn't Vegas have a lottery protected pick for the next couple of years too?
Yep.
So it doesn't matter where they finish; they're still going to be in the lottery.
Yeah, they got a
And
lottery pick.
28 picks over the next 3 drafts until Montreal gives them more. Because they will.
Wow.
Yeah. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Jason Garrison? Lucas Pisa? Brandon McNabb? All those guys were healthy scratches at some point. It's, man, the longer this continues, the better it is for Vegas.
Wow. All right.
But as long as it doesn't continue through the playoffs,
Well, yeah.
they need to sell.
Yeah.
They have to. Their team is built to sell.
And the thing is, I think the great thing about it is that they can sell and still do well. I mean, how much does it really affect them if Lucas Pisa gets traded? If Nate Schmidt gets traded, which I think they're going to hang on to him and Shea Theodore for sure. I would.
They have a chance where if they really, really go for the whole tank thing, which I don't necessarily think is the best idea in your first year necessarily. It's the best idea to make you good long term, but like you want to make a good first impression with your fan base. They could really rob a lot of teams blind in that they can afford to take crap back. Kind of how the Leafs did a couple years ago with that. Like, remember the Eric Brewer trade?
Ah, yes. And he played.
Joaquin Lidstrom. Eric Brewer's 1000th NHL game was with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Remember that ceremony? And everyone's like, yeah, guy who just got here. We feel so great for you.
And you're done after this, by the way.
Cool. Yeah, and you're done after this. That was the difference between him and Patrick Marleau. Marleau, game 1500. We love you. Win some cups. Brewer, no, not so much. If Vegas wants to, they could get some picks for trading away a good player and get more for bringing on another team's crap. Boy. If they really commit to it this year, Vegas can. The next 3 drafts should just be in Vegas. Like, why not? Why not? Just so all the draft picks can just be in the town that they're going to eventually play in. Why not? Like, it should be that way.
You're here, stay here.
Yeah. Come for Vegas, stay for Vegas, because you work here now.
That's right.
Fun fact pointed out on our Reddit regarding Vegas. On January 13th, the Oilers play Vegas.
Okay.
January 13th is Connor McDavid's 21st birthday.
Oh. What is the Oilers' next game?
I can check. But
slam dunk victory.
That's scheduling on purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, like Leafs on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Again, there's the NHL or Vegas or both going, people from Toronto will spend money on this. Who is most likely to fly to Leaf fans? Leaf fans, every time, easily.
So
Give us money, idiot.
So January 13th, a Saturday, Edmonton plays Vegas on Connor McDavid's 21st birthday. Yep. They don't play again for another week. That's not fair.
That's hilarious.
That's not fair.
That's hilarious.
I guess they know he's going to be really hungover.
They gave him a week off. They play Vancouver next Saturday.
Man.
That's
wow. That's actually insane.
Anyways.
We get a full 6 days off. That's hilarious.
Oh, I'm staying a couple days in Vegas then.
A little bit.
21st birthday.
A little bit.
Millionaire hockey player.
Now, if the Oilers don't get back on track, is that going to be McDavid's? They went on a fishing trip. How could they? Remember that? Remember?
The last goal he ever scored won Edmonton the game against Vegas.
Dun. As I was saying it, I'm like, that's like the song. No, but remember the Leafs scandal last year with the fishing trip?
Oh, yes, in Florida. Yep.
Yeah. And a couple of years ago, when they were losing all these games, they posted a video of them at Disney World. Mm-hmm. And everyone went, what? Or Disneyland. Mm-hmm. Heavens, I'm sorry,
Does
California.
anybody get in trouble this year partying in Vegas? Do you think a story comes out?
Ooh.
And if that
It doesn't come out.
happens-
It doesn't come out.
No?
I'm sure they do get in trouble. I don't think the story comes out.
No. Okay.
They want to get away from that reputation. The NHL wouldn't want that coming out. That would be a private
Also,
matter.
I feel like in Vegas, no one cares who you are.
No, they don't.
Just if you're being a dick, get out. Just get out. You're just one of 1,000
Celebrities,
people acting
yeah.
like a drunk idiot. It's stories always break. It's like, oh, they were at a bar in Edmonton,
Chattanooga.
They were at a because they got sent to the AHL or something. ECHL.
Yeah.
Where is Chattanooga?
Chattanooga in
I haven't heard of Chattanooga since Bugs Bunny cartoons.
is it not in New York State?
Sure. I believe you. I believe you if you told me it was in Arizona. But no, it's always in somewhere a little more nondescript. The last story I can really...
Chattanooga, Tennessee. My bad.
There you go. I heard a rumor of an unnamed NHL player getting into a potential police altercation in Calgary. That's one I heard. The last Leaf-related one I can think of was in LA. Mike Komisarek.
Oh,
There was that weird little awkward story that
what happened?
I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I think he dropped somebody, or maybe picked someone up who didn't want to be picked up. Allegedly, it was messy. Claude Giroux, when he got in trouble,
Did he punch a cop?
Something like that. That was in Ottawa. So like it, all this stuff about Vegas.
It
Things
happens
are gonna
anywhere.
get
It
crazy
can happen
in
anywhere.
Vegas. It's almost like they do it. Like it is the professional party town. They have it down to a science.
They're better at security.
They're better at it. So I kind of feel like in terms of trouble, there might actually be less in Vegas. Does that make sense?
Yep.
No, it does.
Yeah. And as for the Golden Knights, I'm not worried about at all.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about them at all. It's the visiting teams because it's still it's like how whenever teams visit Florida, they're like, Florida, we're going to chill on the beach.
For the NBA, Toronto is one of those cities because we have for like the first 10 years of our franchise, every Sunday we play the 1:00 game. So teams fly in on the Saturday, and then Toronto got a reputation around the NBA as, hey, you fly in on Saturday, you have fun on Saturday, and you wake up for the game on Monday, on the Sunday at 1, and you're like a little off. But our team was never good enough to take advantage of that. So everybody kind of partied in Toronto on Saturday.
You know what? Oh boy, that makes it even more sad for the Raptors. When I worked at Leafs TV, so I did the chat for MapleLeafs.com, and I always did it out of the DJ booth at Real Sports. And I saw the Leafs like 2 or 3 times ever. And I think I saw one other NHL team like once. NBA teams, like almost every night. Almost every weekend at least. I remember. That's funny. That's interesting. I never even thought of it that way.
Anyway, so Vegas might be that new town for the NHL.
I think I saw LeBron once.
Did you really?
I think I did.
At Real Sports?
And the Knicks.
Not
You know who I
surprised.
saw once who should not have been out and on his ankle was Hedo Turkoglu.
Ball.
Yeah, who definitely should not have been out partying and definitely was in Yorkville. And then a couple weeks later, it came out that he was partying in Yorkville, and the team's really pissed off at him because he was on the long-term injury reserve.
There was an OHL player I once saw at Grace O'Malley's in Toronto. And I remember being like, oh, because it was the spring. I remember being like, oh, his team was supposed to be really good. They got eliminated? Oh, that's so weird. And then I looked at the playoff tree and nope. He just was at Grace O'Malley's having a whale of a time.
And I've told the story about seeing Steph Curry at Frings at Drake's restaurant.
I don't think you have.
Yeah, I've told this before. I saw Steph Curry at Frings with Drake.
I feel like
Drake.
we would
Why has
remember
that not showed up on our greatest hits on the video
I don't
channel?
know if we had video at that time. This was a while ago.
Dude, I don't think you told us that.
Anyways,
story.
I
I'm not
saw
gonna lie.
Steph Curry and Drake at Frings, Drake's restaurant in Toronto. It was a Friday. It was Friday night, and then they played the Saturday. So
Oh,
he
that's
flew.
it.
He
That's
flew.
it.
Yeah, I saw them.
And he was on the floor.
They were hanging out, and they had. I couldn't see them.
I don't think any
because-
party with Drake gets out of hand. He doesn't seem
No.
like the out of hand type. He goes, he has a good time, but he leaves before people start getting shitty. You know what I mean? Like there's the time of the night where you should leave, and you know what that time is, and you're like, this has been a great night. I'm going to wrap it up because if I stay any longer, something's going to go wrong because that's what happens with people in alcohol.
They're Adam Wild parties.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm having fun and everything, but I need to fall asleep right now. I just need to- I
That's just
need
because
to
my
fall
body
asleep.
puts me to sleep. All right, let's do the press conference quick.
The presser.
We don't have a clock. It's 2:30.
The Steve Dangle press conference.
What's for dinner tonight? It's one of our most upvoted questions.
Wow.
What are you having tonight?
I'll find out tonight. And that's not because like my fiance and I rarely eat any meals together because of our schedules. She's working like 14, 15-hour days as a stylist, so it's whatever is in the refrigerator.
Steak.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm having a steak.
You sharing with the dogs?
Hell no.
Oh.
Yeah, probably.
I
Those dogs
don't
are
think we
spoiled.
ever talked on the show about how you have 2 dogs now.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, yeah.
We have.
No, that happened. I'm pretty sure that happened during the summer. Did it not?
Oh,
Yeah.
it definitely happened during the summer. And we had a guest every single
And we never
show.
had. Hey, Steve caved and got 2 dogs.
I caved. Yeah, okay. So in case I've never told the story before, I caved in tremendously quick fashion because I gave, like Mrs. Dangle is such a terrible actress. She was always like, yeah, no, I know. We're not getting a dog. I know. No, it's silly. It's silly. But once a month or so, she would text me, look at this dog. Look at, she'd send me a link to like, some humane society or whatever, to some dog. We even, over the months leading up to it, called about a few dogs. But there was always an issue. Doesn't like kids. Doesn't like other dogs was the big one. Because all of our children are hypothetical. Our dog is right there. So if it doesn't like other dogs, that's going to be a huge problem. And then she shows us Charlie. He's a golden doodle in a shelter in Collingwood, and good with kids, good with children. And
you said kids and children.
or sorry, good with and
Other
other
dogs.
dogs. My bad.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay. So
He's not like Brian from Family Guy. Hey, other dog. Fuck you.
No, he does actually. He does that all the time. In fact, he climbs up on the window and just barks at people for daring to walk on the sidewalk in front of my house.
My house.
Son of a bitch!
It is his house. He owns
Hey!
it.
This is my block now. Much larger German Shepherd. I live here. Oshawa. Anyway, so but we go there, and he's a much, it's like an over 2-hour drive to Collingwood. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna do this entire drive. First of all, we're coming home with a dog, for sure. We're not driving all the way to freaking Collingwood and not having a dog. But unless we get there and this dog is a psychopath. Like, why is this
Yeah.
golden doodle who has no issues and is 7 years old in a shelter for some reason? And we didn't know anything about his background because they don't tell you anything really about the background. They tell you a few little snippets from the previous owner. This is how you get him to pee. This is how this command does this. This command does that. He doesn't like this. He doesn't like that. But this dog's going to be crazy. This dog's going to be a psychopath. So we took him on a walk, fed him some treats. He's fine. And I'm just like, as we're walking, I'm like, we're not even halfway done. I'm like, man, we have 2 dogs. And we have 2 dogs.
Didn't take long.
No.
We kind of knew.
He had
But-
this stupid, he had like a beard.
Your logic makes so much sense. I was expecting, he's going to be crazy. He's
Well,
gonna
and
have
so neither of our parents approved at first. Her parents didn't approve. My parents didn't approve. Because, of course, there's something wrong with this dog.
something. Yeah.
So then we brought him home. How was he with Iggy? Well, he tried to hump him. Oh my God, he tried to hump him. No, that's
He's
their
a
Dogs
dog.
do that.
No, and for the first few weeks, they're working it out. Who's in charge?
They have to get out that sexual attention.
Well, yeah. Well, and what's funny is Charlie tries to bully Iggy all the time, but he's a little more socially awkward than Iggy. So in all situations where Iggy's more familiar with the turf or he knows the other dogs, he'll be, bully, bully, bully. Okay, now show me, please. Sorry about all those things. I actually need your help.
Aww.
And then, our friends bring over their kid, and we're just like, okay, here it is. Here it is. This dog's gonna
He's going to eat the
demon
baby.
spawn, eat the baby, barf the baby up, eat it again, hates children. He's like licking the baby's face. He's an angel dog. And so the story we were told, without getting too specific, is basically the previous owners ran out of time for him because of their job, which it's weird. We had mixed feelings about it because, the dog's 7. How don't you know? Are you kidding? How don't you know? But it was like Charlie is so clearly trained and a good boy that they must have really taken good care of him, and they made a selfless decision in giving him up. And, well, you put him in a shelter. He was in that shelter for 4 days.
Really?
For 4 days.
Oh, so he wasn't like a year shelter, yeah.
No, yeah, this desperate poor dog.
Yeah, no.
That's the thing.
He
I
had
mean,
a pretty good life.
With rescue dogs, a lot of people make the assumption that there has to be something wrong,
Yeah.
right? There's a reason that they're there, and a lot of times either they're born on the street like mine was, or their owners run out of time and they have to give them up. So anyway, it's nice that you guys have him. He's a good boy.
He's a very good boy. He and Iggy get along swimmingly. They share a pillow at night. Get along in the car.
They hump. It's good.
They hump. Angel dog. Angel dog. It's great. Iggy, they do this thing where this will only get across on YouTube, but they do this thing where Iggy will do this. He'll just walk right up to Charlie. He'll stand there in front of him, and then after like 5-10 seconds, he just goes, meh, like, paws him right in the face, and that's when you know it's on. And Charlie makes this crazy sound.
We just opened our hockey cards, and I have Chris Kreider.
I'll win this round.
So everybody can beat this.
You'll win this round? Cool. Well, I guess I better open my cards that I dropped. Should I start from the bottom or the top? I'm going to start from the top. Okay. I'm going to save my bottom card. Ooh, Jets captain Blake Wheeler.
Montreal Canadiens goaltender Carey Price.
All right, so I win that one with Blake Wheeler.
I have
There you go.
Vladimir Tarasenko.
Ooh, tough one.
NHL 17
And it's a game day
cover
action card.
Ooh, I got a Statmakers Nicholas Backstrom.
That's pretty good.
I'm taking the EA Sports cover boy.
Yeah, damn.
But has he scored 30 goals 3 times?
Oh, boy.
I didn't get him,
Oh,
but I did get someone who's also on that same list, Jaromir Jagr.
okay.
NHL Top 100 list.
Oh, that's a cool card.
Now, okay, are we going by best current players or career?
I think Yarger wins everything.
Yeah, Yager's a bit like a joker.
Yeah, he's a trump card.
Who's better, Yager or Tim Horton? If we're playing a game of president
Tim
right
Horton.
now.
Tim Horton. Because he's
really?
he's the cards.
Oh, he is,
He's
yeah.
already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Do you call it president or asshole?
President. I've never called it asshole.
Why would anyone call it asshole?
That's so aggressive.
A lot of kids I went to summer camp with.
Why are you just sitting around, hey, let's play asshole?
I think, you know what? I think
Yes.
because when you're a kid, you want to just swear because it's cool.
There it
As
is.
you get older, you're like, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to swear when it makes sense to swear.
I went
Wow,
to,
that's fucking stupid. Tits.
I went to a kids movie. I went to a kids movie with my buddy, like a couple buddies, and their mom, and she was the mom who let their kids essentially be feral and get away with anything. And after the movie was done, I thought we were leaving the theater. She walks us into another theater, and we just went to another movie for free. Well, I've never done that before, ever, and I've never done it since. It was There's Something About Mary. Dude, how old were we when that movie came out? Like 10?
Oh, God.
11?
10, yeah.
12 of the oldest. It's just swearing.
Yeah.
And every swear word is funny when you're that age. Oh, were we crying laughing? I can't believe we didn't get kicked out. I can't believe someone wasn't like, there's children in here.
I have a Joe Pavelski.
That's a pretty good one.
Not bad.
I got Nashville's second pairing defenseman,
Oh.
PK Subban.
Oh, I think you win because I got Palmieri.
Kyle Palmieri. Wow, you know what? Kyle Palmieri's one of those guys where I'm like, good for you for getting a hockey card.
Oh, wow.
I'm not meaning that as an insult.
Shots fired.
No, he went from first round pick to castaway to like integral part of the Devils. You know what I mean?
Nope. You said he was terrible and he's lucky to have a
Also,
hockey
he's
card.
trash.
And he's a trash person,
All
too.
right,
Also-
Skip Bayless. He is lucky to have a hockey card.
Now, Jesse, you know I love Kyle Palmieri.
Yeah, Skip. Oh, is that it?
No, I think we're done. I think he's walking out. I think Steve dropped his mic.
Wait, is it done?
I think no, he's gonna come back and finish
Oh,
it.
is he going to come back?
We have to do a radio. Oh, there we go.
There's people working down the hall.
I heard the echo down the hall. People are not going to be happy.
I'm going to get a share space notice about that, man. Thanks.
Are you actually?
Oh, no, there's we have this whole thing where we have an open concept office now, so you have to be quiet.
Well,
You're going to get a notification on Yammer about that.
Oh my God, which is our inner office social media.
I heard someone scream, but, us. Oh, no, it was just the echo.
All right, we got to wrap it up. I'm sorry that I was not sharp today, ladies and gentlemen. I am not feeling fantastic.
Oh, you were Patrick.
But we will see you on Tuesday.
Patrick Sharp.
Yeah, man, stretch.
That's-
Stretch Reno.
You were Shannon.
Let's just wrap this up.
How many other Sharps?
Aquos. Sharp Aquos. TV. Shooter McGavin?
Sharp shooter.
Oh.
You shoot. That's not even a thing, Steve.
No, let's
It's
end
all
this.
the things.
It's over.
Might not be.
It's over.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.